simplify n permutation 4, everything divided by n combination 4. Now the meaning of the permutation is one thing you must understand what it means, right? So normally what I always use is this is a board marker. You know this thing by the image, so you should be able to identify the meaning behind, or the image behind the permutation as well as the combination. So if you're able to identify that, that is very easy for you to solve this problem. Now let's have it. This is a very simple one. Let's solve this one, then we move on to a little bit complicated. Now what it means here is that if you have n objects, so what that means is if you have let's say this, our n here can be what are we going to choose here? Maybe that should be let's say 5, right? So n is 5 items, so you can use your own items to replace them. So once you have out of the n which is the 5 here, we are going to select 4. Is that okay? Selecting 4 means that the order matter, right? So the order is very, very important, the order in which you are picking. So let's say you have some food items, some orange, right? So orange, let's say mango, and so on and so forth. So maybe list the rest of the 2 here. Now if you pick orange to be your number 1, that is very, very straight, right? So and then you pick this one to be your number 2, you pick this one to be number 3, and then 4. The arrangement is very, very important. So orange, mango, and so on and so forth. That could be apple, and so on and so forth, right? Okay, maybe someone can choose to go for, maybe the person decided to choose this mango first, and then come and choose this one second, right? So this will be the second, and then this one is first, right? And so on and so forth. Is that okay? That is why we are seeing that under the permutation, arrangement is very, very important. So mathematically what it means, so the vice versa is just going to be a combination, whereby we are not necessarily interested in the arrangement of how, or irrespective of how you are going to select your item. Okay, perfect. Now the meaning, what it means here is that the permutation here, what it means, it solely means that this n factorial divided by maybe everything on n minus 1 factorial, right? That is just the technical definitions of this guy here. So it means that out of the n item here, you are going to select 4, in which the order is very, very important. So this is just the factorial for the top one. Everything divided by, remember this definition. So with the combination, we have n factorial divided by that. How many people, how many things are we selecting? We are selecting 4, right? So 4 factorial, everything by n minus 4 factorial. This is just a factorial. So the meaning of the factorial here, if you don't know that, we shall say 3 factorial. What it means is that the 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1. So to avoid this long expression, that is why we break it down into this guy here, which is we call the factorial. Is that okay? So that is just the meaning behind the factorial. Now that should be very interesting if you don't know the number that we are dealing with. So in this case, that is just n. So n factorial, that is the easiest or the simple way we can write this. So you should know the meaning of this thing. So you know the difference between the two, which is the permutation and the commutation. That is very, very important. Is that okay? Okay, now let's see how we can proceed from here. Don't let this thing worry you. Don't be panicked when you see something. This is similar to something like 1 on 2, everything divided by 3 on 4. Okay, so if you know how to solve this thing, you should have the fair idea on how you are going to tackle this thing. So what do you do if you have something like this? So that is 1 on 2 divided by 3 on 4. So here you are going to change this division sign to a multiplication by changing this fraction, right? So that is going to be 1 on 2 multiplied by 4 on 3. Is that okay? So that is the definition. So using that here, so okay, before that, let's get to this point. So you have n factorial divided by n minus 4 factorial. That is for the top, right? So divided by n factorial divided by 4 factorial, everything n minus 4 factorial. This is what we have. Is that okay? So what are we going to do? We are just going to solve the second fraction. So we have n factorial as n minus 4 everything factorial multiply by, so let's interchange here, 4 factorial as n minus 1 everything factorial divided by what? N factorial. Is that okay? So what are we going to do here? So you can see the same guy here, so the same guy here, which is the n factorial, added down here, so meaning that they are going to cancel out, right? So this one cancel this out. And then what about this way? So you have the n minus 4 factorial here. We can also see the n minus 4 factorial, so this one and this one also cancel out. Okay, so here you have our final answer to be equal to 4 factorial. So as I said earlier on, the meaning of this 4 factorial, that was going to be 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 and then multiplied by 1. Is that okay? And then the final answer here is going to be, that should be 24. So 24 is the answer to this question. Is that okay? By the way, if you are gaining some value from this video, make sure that you give us a thumbs up. If you are new here, try and subscribe to the channel for content like this. If you have any questions, so don't hesitate to comment in the comment section below. So this is the second question, which is a little bit similar to the first one. If you have a very solid understanding of the first part of the question, here you should be able to tackle this one, right? So you have the n combination. Maybe why don't you give it a try? Just pause the video and come back and come and check the solution. If n combination 5, everything divided by n permutation 4, all is going to be equal to 1 on 4. We want to find the values of this n here. That is what the question is demanding. Okay, now, so here your starting point requires you to know the meaning of this guy here. So as you said, you've already seen from the first part of the video, you have this guy. The top point is going to be n factorial divided by 5 factorial, everything multiplied by n minus 5 factorial. That is for the top one, right? Everything divided by, that is going to be the n factorial on what? N minus 4 factorial. So the only difference between the permutation and the commutation here is that note this guy, right? So that's the only thing, right? If you want to memorize, that's the trick for you to use in memorization. So this and this, that is what matters. Now from here we can easily change. So that is the n factorial on what? 5 factorial, that's the n minus 5 factorial, everything divided by, so maybe I can swap this guy straightforward, right? So swapping this guy here, since you know what is happening, that is n minus 4 everything factorial divided by n factorial. Is that okay? So this one makes some sense, but remember everything here is equal to 1 on 4, right? So straightforward, you can see that this guy cancel this guy out. Is that okay? So if you are in a hurry to cancel this thing out, that is going to be a very nice mistake here. So there's no need in cancel this. Why? I'll explain that in just a few seconds. So okay, if you cancel, you are still going to have 2 of the n remains here. It'll also be very difficult for you to solve at the end. So how do you do this type of question? So here we can easily rewrite this guy to be, so here this guy at the top here. So since we know the meaning of the factorial, that was 5 factorial, means that 5 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3 and so on and so forth. Is that okay? So we can easily write this guy to be 5 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3 factorial, because we know the meaning of the factorial. So bringing that idea to this point here, we can have this guy here to be multiplied by, that is the n minus 1. So assuming n is just a fixed number, and then also multiply by what? N minus 5, right? So multiply by n minus 5 or factorial. Is that okay? So you can see that this thing keep on decreasing. So from the 5, the next one is 4. So if I replace it by 5 or maybe 10, right? So 10 multiply, subtract by 4, that's going to be 6. Here subtract by 5, the next one is going to be 5. Is that okay? So that is all the procedure here. So everything here divided by the n factorial. So we have n minus this, and then 5 factorial multiplied by n minus 5 everything factorial. So make sure that you avoid that mistake. So why are you doing that? Before you proceed, make sure that you know where you are going, right? Think about it before you write your next step. So you can see that this guy can cancel this guy out. Is that okay? So now this can also cancel this. Is that okay? So now perfect, we have everything to be equal to 1 and 4. So what remains is the most important. So what remains here, that is going to be n minus 4 everything on 5 factorial. That is going to be 1 on 4. Now that we have only one n here, we can easily solve that. So from this part of the question, we can easily say, okay, this is what we have, n minus 4 everything divided by 5 factorial, and that's going to be equal to 1 on 4. So the 5 factorial here, n minus 4, is going to be 120, right? So you may check that. That's the 5 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1. So everything is equal to 1 on 4. Now you can easily solve this by the cross multiply, right? So we have 4 multiplying by as the n minus 4, right? And then this guy, this one multiplied by this, that's going to be 120. So solve this thing and give him the answer to the n in the comment section below, right?